Hey everybody, it's your host Keepster, co-host uh, Kasumi. We have
Hello.
a bit of as you guys have been keeping up with all my Soul Hackers 2 parts slash streams, as of last night I finished the game, and I have to say yes, as I discovered I was indeed missing some parts to fully get the true ending because goddamn, you just can't go through an RPG without getting like the true shit. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Female.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but it's fine. That was on me. I purposely chose not to use a guide up until like the last few parts, and I was definitely missing some gaps while using that guide. To be fair, and I should have looked at David's like channel, George RPG channel, before I decided to try to venture this on my own. But it's like back in my day, right? When you beat games, most of the time you try not to rely on guides if you can help it. You only should rely on a guide if you need like guidance. That's the point of a guide.
Kites never existed until like early 2000s,
Yeah,
I
or
would
or
say.
game facts for that matter. But anyways, we're gonna say the pros and cons of this game, and we're gonna list out maybe a few, and then we're gonna see the cons, and then we're just gonna have a general discussion about Soul Hackers 2 because even though Kasumi here hasn't finished her playthrough, she's been seeing a lot of my playthrough, so she can definitely tell an informed opinion about how she thinks about it, and she's definitely gonna try to get the true ending on my stead where I couldn't. So, quite frankly, I don't have the patience for either. But anyways, and plus she has her roommate Akechi helping her, so it's like she's not in that alone. So anyways, some pros, right? Definitely one of the first pros I can think of is the characters. I love the cast. All the casts are. There's not a single character that I hate, except maybe for like the first boss that you fight, which is like kind of a chump. But for the most part, each character has their own motivation. Each character has their reasoning for being a part of the factions that they do, motivations to doing whatever. Especially the Aeon, I'm gonna call them like the Aeon androids, more or less humans, beings, sentients, whatever. They definitely have their own purpose, but generally speaking, the characters carried the game. Would you agree, Kasumi?
Yeah, I would agree. Honestly, that's the only good part of the game,
Yeah.
besides the story.
Second
But
part, second pro, I can say, I would say how you acquire demons this time is a lot more streamlined than SMT or SMT 3 and 5. Definitely more streamlined than Persona. There's like no negotiation to getting demons. You have to basically have enough on your stock, and also like one of your demon pals will tell you like, hey, so and so demon wants to join you, and then hope that your level is not low enough, which is that's gonna go into the con as well. But that's like one good factor. Um, Another good factor I can think of is the DLC costumes that you do get are cool. Definitely appreciate the soundtrack that comes with them because it's just like when you do that for Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5. So that's a nice touch. And I think the last pro I can think of, you want to say something?
yeah, the costumes look actually really nice, even though I hate the price.
Yeah, that's going to go into the con though. And then the last pro I can think of, like the amount of customizations you can give the characters. Like, unlike Persona or SMT, you can really like tailor-made Ringo to be like, say, you want her to be more affinity to lightning. You can make her like that. or you can make the party members tailor made to be a specific element or an element that suits them best through the comm system, through like you know all those other things you can equip your characters. But as good as this game, like the voice acting and everything, as good as this game is, there are fortunately quite a bit more the cons kind of outweigh the pros this time. So do you want any one of them, Kasumi?
Okay, I like the story. Like I said, the characters are really good. The costumes look really excellent. I haven't went to the DLC area yet because we got the whatever, the expensive edition for digital. Um, the compendium is actually really cool too. They brought back a lot of demons that needed to come back. Um, other than that, I think that other than that, it will go into the next part.
Yeah, I think I agree. The costume pricing for the game, well, the DLC practices for this game is just not acceptable. It really isn't. Any way you slice it.
It's not.
And the only I'm just gonna say this: the only reason you would defend it is as if you're just willing to accept bad practices, and you can't really see it.
Well, granted, the Phantom Thief attire would have sweetened the deal for me. I would have been blind with that, but since that's not part of the DLC, um, yeah.
Imagine, imagine you were like me.
Yeah,
Kasumi.
you got a physical copy.
I got a fucking physical copy of the game.
I,
And you know what I was thinking. Both of us were thinking that I was gonna get at least like the downloadable code for the costume. Seemed like a obvious thing to do, right?
I was told it came with every pre-order, but then I look up on the website the very day it launches. Oh, it's only for digital pre-order for all the editions. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that really ticked me off. At least, like, I don't really care at the end of the day because it's whatever. But it's like I pre-ordered $60. I went out of my way to do it. The least it could have done is like, okay, I got the cards, that's cool and all, but it's like, how about something a little bit more, huh? A little bit more bang for my buck.
Yeah, you are paying $60+ for a physical copy.
Yeah.
I get if you're buying the 70 to 9 over $100 uh, collection of the game. But
if I paid more than that, I would be more upset than I am now.
but normal pre-orders should also come with something that would be actually useful. Because I don't know who else collects cards. I get their art cards, and there's a lot of people who like those, but there's a lot of people who don't. Like, I can see them being thrown away with some cases.
Yeah, I can see it too. And I wouldn't be surprised if people try to sell these cases for some money because aside from using them as a coaster, like I'm sorry, or maybe using them as if you play Yu-Gi-Oh like I do, use them as tokens for your monsters. What use do you have with these cards other than collecting them?
Well, I honestly want it. I would want them to collect them because I like the characters, I like the picture, I like something physical. But there has to be something more than that for some other people.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like what
So
happens
let's
like
start.
okay, let's just say for example, they're lucky that I like the characters, but what happens if I didn't like the characters? Then what?
Fire, fire, throw 'em in fire. You, where you live, you can throw 'em in fire.
Yeah, it's like okay, I would understand if it's like, oh, they're marking Persona 5 because Persona 5 is their flagship game. And we get collectible cards, and that's cool and all, but it's like, I'm not gonna really use the. I'm not. I'm telling you right now, I'm not gonna really use these cards. They're gonna be something I pull out, be like, hey, this is what I got from it. But I'm not gonna really use these cards, to be honest. I know some people that are artists can think of something creative, and I've seen someone use it as like part of their phone strap on Twitter. But beyond that, no. Okay, another con.
Strike,
Go ahead.
Persona 5 Strikers had at least a digital code for digital artwork, digital soundtrack, uh, digital behind the scenes sneak peek. I don't remember the last thing. And then they also had a pin for people who like physical stuff. Why couldn't you do something like Strikers did with at least like saying, hey, here's a code for a digital art book, a digital soundtrack, and a bonus video.
Oh yeah,
Why couldn't that be like something?
and also like um for like the fit when you pre-order Q2 the Q2 collector's edition, I got that for my birthday from like a coworker of mine. You get a playing cards like like you do in like casinos and stuff. From it's like the Persona characters, and that's at least something you can use for like poker or whatever. But for like,
What?
but for like the Soul Hackers cards, it's like you really don't find any use in them unless you're like an artist, unless you like use them like creatively. But it's like aside from using them as a coaster, what other use do you have these characters? I mean, these cards for? Unlike, yeah, granted, you might like the characters. I get that. But what other use do you have for these? Like, what's the practical use for them? Probably nothing.
So, probably nothing unless if you play Magic the Gathering and use them as tokens or uh
Or Yu-Gi-Oh.
or Yu-Gi-Oh. That's it. There's no point. Like I love cards. I that would fit me, but not uh Joker here. It wouldn't fit him.
Well, I would probably use them for tokens, but nothing else. So thanks, Atlas, for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, let me think. What's okay? So
DLC
yeah,
price
the DLC prices.
is
Yeah. So get this. For 10, I didn't get a physical, and then I would basically have to decide, oh, what digital version? You get a couple of choices or so. You get, of course, the regular game. Why would you do that? Or you would get like the sweet additional. I believe was it $80 that you got it for? Like that comes with everything, the bundles and all that shit. Kasumi,
what?
you spent on the
Oh,
digital deluxe
okay.
edition, right?
So yeah, I did, and it's more worth it to get the digital edition of it, but the DLC is not besides the personas and costumes is not worth it.
Yeah. Like the demons that you get in the game are good for the most part, but it's like I'm gonna be honest. I only paid for two DLCs. I only paid for the costumes, and I only paid for the demons. That's it. I didn't bother with like the $10 like extra game content. I didn't bother with anything else. And then I saw like Fitter's review on that, and he said it was not worth it. So I was like, yeah, that's like an Archon. A lot of these DLCs Some of them actually help you through the game if you want to abuse it. Some of them are just not really necessary, to be perfectly honest. And the other con I was going to get is like the level designs. I want to say at least 2 to 3 different occasions I was lost navigating through like the map. And it's like, I mean, I'm used to Atlas's way of level design by now, and I know this is from a different team. But it's like, I was trying, like, I mean, granted, I eventually figured that out how to get through them, but it's like, I felt like a lot of the floors that you go through felt like the same, felt very empty. Just like with Gnarly, when I saw his review, it was like, a lot of the level designs felt so empty. And it's like, it doesn't help that what happens if you're like grinding to get like a specific demon you're trying to make. It's like, if you're mid-level and you're not high enough level, a lot of demons are gonna be like, oh, you want me on your stock? Fuck you. Basically, right?
Yeah, basically. My whole problem with the level design is it's too basic, and it doesn't help that enemies can spawn on top of you, or Ringo can spawn on top of enemies, or run into enemies.
Yeah, I mean, you have the benefit of running away from them. There's no random encounters, but it's like it gets to a point where it becomes predictable. Okay, you're gonna go through this next section. Oh, a demon's gonna show up. Oh, occasionally a powerful demon, which is like the purple one's gonna show up. And it's like you have to like MacGyver your way through, in case you don't feel like fighting anything. But if you're unlucky, you're forced to fight, and it's like you're basically wasting your time getting through. Oh yeah, speaking of time waster, you know what's another thing I didn't like? The amount of side quests that you do don't really add to the game. Only like I would say the only thing that really matters is like the axis. Don't be like me and be like, oh, I'm just gonna go through the story, because if you do that, you're just gonna get the good/bad ending of the game. Which I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but I'm just gonna say right now, if you're just doing the story, you don't care about any of the extra shit, then you're gonna get the ending that you're gonna get. But if you want to get the true ending, you have to have. This is the only thing I'm gonna spoil. You have to your party members' soul levels have to be at least 100, and you have to unlock all their floors up to level 4. That's the only way you get the true ending. And I didn't discover this until I beat the game.
It's because we didn't want to get spoiled. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get spoiled myself because I knew I was going to play the game. I knew the Axis was going to be a big part of the game. I didn't know that you don't go in there through the story. It's mostly requests that lead you to go into the Axis, which is very poor design
even Persona 5, the original, tells you, hey, you have to go through mementos. It was that obvious to me playing through the first time. And I didn't. And it's like, what the fuck, Atlas?
There's no mention that you need to go through that.
Granted, yeah, it's obviously important. They want you to spend time on the game, but what happens if you're under a time constraint? You don't really have the time. Like for me, I didn't really have the time to play all day. I actually have obligations that I have to do. Believe it or not, I didn't have time to play until at nighttime.
Unlike me and Akechi, we have literally all day to do stuff in video games, but it makes people who don't have time have to dedicate that time to the game, which seems like more of a chore than it does a fun game.
I was just gonna say, heck, even like, what was I gonna say? Like a YouTuber I follow, like Buffmaster, I believe his name was. he said it was tedious, and even he didn't agree with like going through. And yet he had to go. Him as like a true, I would say he's a true Let's Player than I am, because he actually legitimately makes guides for people that need to get through the true ending. And it's like, dude, that is bad. Like, if you weren't paying attention, you're definitely gonna miss out on that for sure. And if this is your first Atlas game, oh boy, oh
I'm
boy,
sorry for you.
oh boy, I'm
I
so
feel
sorry.
sorry for the poor fortunate souls that have to do this as their first Atlas game. This ain't the best that they have. It's good, but yet it's bad at the exact same time because
Like,
um,
there,
also their PR team was also.
there's a reason why I barely gave this game. I was nice. I gave it a 6.5. Kasumi here gave it a straight up 6 because I know some people gave it a 7, but personally, so far
Yeah.
of all the Atlas games I've touched, this game is basically this game. I'm definitely gonna play it again, but it's definitely not my favorite Atlas title. I'm not sure I can say. I definitely, if you're gonna get this game full price, wait for a sale. That's my other
Yeah.
advice. Wait for a sale.
Yeah, I would wait for a sale before getting the game because Royal is coming out right around the corner. I would suggest you put your money with Royal, then Soul Hackers 2. And until Soul Hackers 2 gets on sale, you can wait. There's
I would even say, I wouldn't even go as far as to say if you want to play any Atlas RPG, there are there's a lot of them out there that are probably cheaper than Soul Hackers right now. Heck, I don't even I don't. I mean, I have a 3DS and all that, but I wouldn't even maybe recommend. Like, I can't have. I'm not an authority to say this, but maybe I even recommend the original Soul Hackers, because maybe you'll get more bang for your buck on that game than this game. To be perfectly honest.
You can buy SMP5. You can buy Persona 5 Royal on the PlayStation 4. You can play Persona 5, Persona 4 Golden. I would recommend any other
Heck,
S
like if you're looking to save money, if you have a PS3, I even recommend the older Persona titles, like Persona 3
yeah.
FES, Persona 4 the original, even the original Persona 5. It's all very cheap by now.
Yeah, they are. Fact is, the original Persona 5 game was $20 freaking dollars.
And it's like, it's not to say that this game was bad. This game definitely had good points. It's just, unfortunately, I felt like the bad outweighed the good this time. Like, I'm not going to straight up say that the game was a complete failure, but it definitely wasn't. There's a reason why it sold really poorly, and I'm starting to see why.
It's a cash grab. It's clear it was a cash grab. And that's what I don't like about games. Especially the Pokemon series.
Oh yeah, but we'll get into that debate another time. So, I'm gonna close off. Chiefster signing off. Begone, nerdy demons. Make sure that you traverse yourself through the access pretty carefully, and at the very least, I can just say this: Ringo was quite a doll. Like, I love her, but and I love the other characters too. But it's like, I'm just not satisfied. And any last thoughts, Kasumi, before we close off?
No, bye.
Right. Take care, guys, and see you guys later.
Been a little while, but I'm still battling. Moving fast while you just prattling. No time for me, no tangling. Hit you in the spot with no angling.